Losing is what got us here. None of us feel good about it. This is, where we are. You are what your record is. You are what has happened, recently. But things can change quickly. Once we.
Tony, what's poppin', my brother? How you feeling, man?
It's good, man. I'm still riding high off that win last night,
Oh, no
man.
doubt about it, man. It's not even that win. The Knicks are on a 3-game win streak right now.
Yeah,
Right? Game
yeah.
win, 2 big blowouts in a row. You know what I mean? Playing real good basketball right now. And Orlando came in with like the number 1 defense in the league, something like that. Knicks number 1 offense in the league. And offense won.
Offense trump defense.
Offense trumped defense last night. You know what I mean? Crazy game from the Knicks. I guess before we even get into just everything with the Orlando Magic and what their fans think, just your thoughts on the game in general and where the Knicks are right now, how you feel about them.
They progressing, man. We talked about a game a couple weeks ago, and I remember I was like, can it get better? You know what I mean? Can offensively, can it look better? And it did. It did. I mean, balanced scoring all throughout. We had multiple guys with like 18 points. The bench production was great with Deuce and Cam came in locking things down, changing the pace, speeding up the game. Like everybody had an impact.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. And that's what's happening every single night. Anthony, what's popping with you, brother? Good to see you out there. Everybody that's out there in the chat. Kerry Cox. I don't if you didn't say anything, I can't see you in the chat. You know what I mean? But big shout out to everybody that's here. But yeah, it's happening more and more often, right? That everybody's contributing in their own way. Finding their way to contribute. And the team is definitely rounding into shape. They're becoming better defensively. Offensively, we already knew that they were going to be a really good team, and they're proving that they could be a record-breaking team maybe when things actually start to get flowing and going. You know what I'm saying? They're still figuring things out offensively, which is scary. You know what I'm saying? They're still figuring it out. So, the Knicks just, yeah.
And we said Trump, we said offense trump defense, but you got to give the Knicks credit for their defensive effort last night as well. Like that was probably one of their best defensive efforts. I'll say minus that fourth quarter. You know what I mean? Where it got a little bit, they was playing for the point differential, and Tibbs, he took the starters out, which was a nice. He wasn't worried about the point differential. He was worried about the win. That's nice to see.
Yeah, and Tibbs hears the talk. You know what I'm saying? So this is the second night in a row where you didn't see mad starters going down the stretch of the game and all that kind of stuff. They're coming together. They're getting it together, and they're becoming a scary team. And if they can, like I said last night on the show, if the Knicks can remain the number 1 offense or top 3 offense in the league, which I have no doubt on my mind they can and will, and they become a top 10 defense, now it's going to come down to the intangible things, right? How do they do in the clutch situations?
Mm-hmm.
When the pressure is high? How do they handle situations when the pressure is high? It comes down to those things. Once, they become, like we said, top 3 offense, top 10 defense in the league. Now it comes down to those other little things, and we'll see how they perform under pressure. That's what I like about this whole in-season tournament. We get a chance to see how they will perform under pressure. You know what I mean? Will they thrive? You get a chance to see it as a coach. You get a chance to experience it as players with your team. So when you go into the playoffs, you kind of know, okay, this is what we did during the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
How do we change that, right? You got some time to try to change it and fix it. You know, so it's definitely a developmental tool, can be used as a developmental tool. You know what I mean? But let's go ahead. You was about to say
No,
something.
I was just gonna say, hopefully the Nova boys could channel that inner NCAA tournament vibe of one and done or lose and go home mentality.
Right. All right, let's get to it, man. Let's get to it. See what these Orlando Magic fans, whatever fans they have, what they think, what they're talking about. Lance said, I think they're losing on purpose to rest up players during the cup, which is honestly a loser's mentality. That is a loser's mentality. You don't lose. I mean, I don't think they were trying to lose on purpose, but I agree that would be a loser's mentality, right? But they wasn't trying to lose on purpose. They just got their ass bust. Come on now.
I think Lance is the loser for even thinking that.
They just got their ass bust. That's it. There's nothing more to it. They got their ass bust.
And of course, he set himself up for the welcome to the Losers Lounge.
Exactly. Welcome to the Losers Lounge. We hope you'll be on it a lot more than just tonight. Orlando match. But look, Orlando's going to be a good basketball team, right? You know, Boncaro was out last night. They had some other guys out. They're going to be a good basketball team. There's no doubt in my mind that they'll be a good basketball team. You know, so Magic fans really shouldn't be that worried because they're young. They got a lot going for them. But they did get smacked. So, like David said, I'm at a loss for words.
Yeah, they was on a streak, right? A winning streak.
They was on a streak. They were playing well.
One of the hottest. They might have been the hottest team in the league at that point.
Like that. You know, the thing is, you're not just, you're gonna experience games like that. I don't care who you are, what team you are. Very few teams do not experience those type of games. You're gonna experience games like that. They came back and won tonight. They beat Philadelphia 106-102. You know, that's how you bounce back. You know, you're gonna trust me. I mean, we know we experienced that kind of beat down to the Boston Celtics the first game of the season.
Sure did.
Right? Super smack. And it was right off the bat, it was like, oh man, what are we in for right now? Jimmy said, this wouldn't be this way if Paolo and Goga were here. Yeah.
If was a fifth.
You know, I mean, the Knicks were intent on winning the game. The Knicks undefeated in in-season tournament play. You know, it's clear to me that they're taking those games seriously, right? They're not just out there doing whatever. They're taking those games serious.
And back to that first comment. They were undefeated too. Yeah. They wanted to win. They had the highest point differential in the tournament coming in. You know what I mean? So they just got their ass whipped. They wanted it just as much as we did.
Right. I guess what Dude was trying to say is they know they're in. Just depends on what the seed is, and they're resting guys. It's not the playoffs.
It's straight.
Right. It's not the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? And this still counts as a conference loss for them when you get to the real playoffs. You dig what I'm saying? So no, that's just an excuse. Just an excuse. You know what I mean? Gotta chill with the excuses. Anthony said this is just sad and not acceptable. We're better than this. This shit is laughable. That's exactly what their coach probably said in the locker room. You know what I mean? It's not acceptable. Shoot. That's what I tell my girls. When we lose, I don't curse at them. You know what I mean? Because they take it a little bit differently when a man curses at them than when a woman curses at them. they might fall and break into tears, something like that. And it's a religious school, so I can't do all of that. But I let them know it's not acceptable, and they played like trash. And they got whipped. That's what coaches are supposed to do, and that's what happened with the Magic. And then they came back tonight and won. Right? That's what happens. That's how you respond.
Yeah, and I like it. Go ahead and beat Philly.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Philly. Go. Let's talk. I saw something. Is Joel Embiid done?
I know they've been going back and forth. I haven't heard anything definitive though.
I mean, it would be crazy. Okay, 3 hours ago, Nick Nurse said there's no plans to shut down the often injured center Joel Embiid. But
Yeah.
I mean, Philadelphia, man, 5-15, lost 3 and 7 in their last 10 games. I know they had some injuries, but wow. Can they climb back into it? Do you think Philly can climb back into it?
It's still early enough in the season that it's possible. You know what I mean? But I don't know if I would feel like it's worth it. Like honestly, I would consider shutting Embiid down and having him get the full health, the full rest, the full recovery that he needs.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's tough. That's easy for me to say as a Knicks fan looking from the outside in.
Right.
But unless you feel like you don't know he can go at any time and you just want to milk and get what you can while you can.
I mean, I guess
I would take the long-term approach if I'm them. You just paid him.
Right. The thing, like what Kerry Cox is saying, why would Philly waste the last of PG-13's years? You sit Joel Embiid, you know what I mean? You're looking like, all right, we signed PG-13 to be his counterpart. Paul George ain't gonna be happy. Right? He's not gonna be happy. What is Paul George's contract?
He signed 3 years, 150, right?
Let's see. He a 4-year, $212 million contract for the 76ers.
Wow.
4 years.
So he wanted 150 from the Clippers.
Yeah. And maybe there's an opt-out or something like that, but overall it's 4 years, $212 million. There's no way. I mean, you gotta go for broke. Got Joel Embiid signed, you got PG-13, you got Tyrese Maxey. You kind of got to go for broke, or you're just going to waste Paul George.
I mean, if their plan was not to play back-to-backs, to rest them as much as possible anyway, I don't see how. And he's having these, come back for 2 games, out for 2 games.
Yeah.
Even if it's not out for the season, I think they got to try to sit him until he's, close to 100%. Unless they know he ain't never gonna be 100% again.
That's the thing. He may never be 100% this season. It's tough. Oh no, it's tough. But anyway, let's get back to the Knicks. Haywood said putting up 16 shots and a half is crazy. That is crazy. 16 shots and a half.
You know what? I meant to fact check it. I don't know if that's accurate.
I don't know if that's accurate.
I don't know if that's accurate. I meant to fact check it because it might have been.
Maybe he's talking about a player.
Yes, he might have been referencing a player.
Got to be
So,
talking about a player. There's
and I
no
didn't.
way
I
they
meant
only
to.
put up 16 shots.
I meant to fact check that. I think he was talking about a player. So,
Yeah,
pardon me on that one.
yeah, it can't be. He had to be talking about a player. You know what I'm saying? Because if a team only put up 16 shots and a half, ain't no way they should be playing. They shouldn't be playing basketball.
Yeah, that's definitely a player. Because I started doing the math when I was looking at it, and I forgot what they had, but 16. I was like, they would have had to make all their shots, all 16 shots.
Right. They put up 87 shots. No, I'm sorry. They put up 87 shots in the game.
In a game, yeah.
Right. That means they would have had to put up 71 shots in the second half. That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. So we know that's not that. Ahmad said, seems like we get embarrassed every time we play in front of the world. We're way better than what we're showing. Yeah, they're definitely better than what they're showing, what they showed against us. You know what I mean?
That was a big sentiment in their chat too.
Yeah.
Is there a takeaway you have for? I mean, remember that was the Knicks. I mean, this is when we really weren't good though. But I remember a time where every televised games we had, we lost. You know what I mean? Like it felt like a omen on us.
Yeah. I mean, I think, part of it is being a young team playing under the lights, knowing you're on TNT. You know what I'm saying? That's part of it. I think, just being those young players. And I remember the first time when we were in sectionals when I was in high school, and we played at the Glen Falls Arena or something like that. Right. And I stepped in and I'm like, I'm just looking around like, oh snap, I never played in anything like this before. You know what I mean? And so from the beginning of the game, like starstruck.
That's the state tournament, right?
Yeah, sectionals. Yeah, state tournament. Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And we made it down to like the Final Four or something like that. We got smacked in that game, but all of us stepped in like, wow, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like we're looking in the stands, there's cameras going off.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You're playing this a new environment. Sometimes it takes a while to get used to it. And we started getting smacked right from the beginning of the game. We lost by like 15 to 20, but
that's funny though, because I was gonna say the same thing. I played in that Glen Falls tournament. Well, I'm lying. I didn't play. I was on the team. Okay. I didn't play, but I remember walking in, and yeah, it's a different environment than what you used to.
It's different, because you used to small high school gym. Might be a lot of people in the gym, but a small high school gym. Now you walk into this arena with mad seats out there, and they got a thing in the middle of the court. You got a whole media table out there. You're like, oh shoot.
Seeing coaches, college coaches
out there, and newspaper reporters and stuff. You're like, yo, this is bugged out. You know what I mean? So there could be something to it. Just them having a little bit of stage fright. Hawk said, again, I'm so pissed right now. I wanted us to show the world what Magic basketball is about, and we lay an egg in the first half. It happens. The problem is when you get in the playoffs, every game is like that, right?
That's what I responded to one of them. I'm like, you know what? Every game in the playoffs is nationally televised. So you might as well quit now or figure it out.
Right. Better get used to it. Kevin said, this is why I want Wendell the F out of here. When it's hard, he folds like a girl. I wouldn't say like a girl, because I've seen some girls play some ball and, they'll come at you. So I don't know about all of that. But, I guess they hating on Wendell Carter. Wendell Carter's a nice player. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have all your pieces there, but Wendell Carter is a hooper. He has a role on that basketball team. I guess they expected him to step out of his role, but with players not being there, or whatever. But maybe he's just not that guy.
And he's not the defender on the team. You know what I mean? Like probably the defenders didn't live up to what they were supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, not saying he did what he was supposed to do offensively, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was his fault.
Nah, they're just looking for. They're mad, looking for somebody. They're mad. TM said, "I've rarely seen any other NBA fans in this community chat. These Knicks fans are coming out like roaches. Yeah, they're used to it. The Knicks are good. They're used to it. We're gonna be everywhere. Matter of fact, we're gonna be in DC December 28th and 30th, taking over Washington DC because the Wizards are trash. Be taking over."
And Orlando already know we own their arena.
Exactly.
Know what I mean?
Right. I mean, they already know. I wanted to save this one for last because I want to have a discussion about it. Hill 7, G at Hill 7 said, "There's nothing funnier than Cat trying to act hard." What do you think about that statement, Tone?
Hey, he showed me he tough. He showed me some toughness.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
so like that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for from him. So
yeah.
now
Go ahead.
I'll say this. That's one of the things I questioned, right? When we acquired Cat, or even before acquiring Cat, why I wasn't high on being interested in him. So it may be the perspective when you're looking from the outside. You know what I mean? Because he showed me since being here, he has some toughness. You know, the way he's fighting for rebounds, like that came as a shock for me. Like I thought he got rebounds based off of size and not effort, but it's effort. You know what I mean? It's fight. So, and last game, I think he was, I talked to you about it off air. He was going at it with Mo Wagner. They was going back and forth, having their moments. You know what I mean? Like he's far from soft.
Right. And yeah, you know what I'm saying? I the thing is, this is for fans, for players, it's the overwhelming narrative about him in the league, and I was part of it too. I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't think he was as tough as he is, and we all keep all Knicks fans, I think, are surprised. But is he acting, or is it's just him? Like is he faking it to make it, or is this being in New York just brought it out of him? Being with Tom Thibodeau brought it out of him. Being with Josh Hart, those guys brought it out of him.
I mean, just coming back to the city could have brought it out of him too. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? In general, because that's embedded in the DNA growing up in the city, growing up in New York.
Endgame said, "Cat proved his worth. I don't understand the Cat is soft narrative." I think around the league, that's the narrative, though. I think that's still the narrative around the league.
Now, I've heard a lot of players come out recently, like or Jeff Teague, who played with him. You know what I mean? He spoke on it and it was like he's far from soft. Couple people, you know what I mean, came out. I've heard and Edwards speak on it. So I think the perspective is not internally. You know what I mean? I don't think it comes from players. I think it comes from maybe former players, patrons, watchers, media. You know what I mean? I think it comes from that perspective. And I think the big part of it came from the whole Jimmy Butler situation.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like that's where it started.
Okay.
Because that was a quote, and it was Butler saying y'all soft, not you. You know what I mean?
Right.
He was speaking.
But then the things he would, it came out. He was like, we want to have a family atmosphere or something like that. Right? You know, I guess that could be portrayed that way.
hmm
Um, I don't know. You know, I mean, it seems to still be the perception around the league. He seems to be changing it now, though. How much does his voice and the way he talks have to do with it?
I've heard people mention like a voice change.
Mhm.
That's not something that I've really like witnessed. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if there's like some clip that people are referencing or whatever.
What do you mean a voice change? Like his voice has changed since he's come to the Knicks?
No. I guess in previous interviews, like he has like a fluctuation in his voice tone.
Mhm.
I've heard people reference this. This is before he even played the game here, but after he was traded here. So, but I never, you know what I mean? I never dived deep to figure out what they were referencing. But when you say how he talks, I'm thinking it's that same conversation.
Right. I think when people say they change, and Anthony D said, you know, a brother can't be articulate. Uh, I mean, he is articulate. I don't think that's it. Excuse me. Sorry. I don't think that's it. I think sometimes he can be articulate when he's doing interviews, things like that. You hear him in other situations, him maybe trying to sound a little more tough or a little more down doesn't sound as genuine, right? When I seen him in other interviews, doesn't
I can see
sound
that.
genuine.
I can see that.
Right? And maybe that's, you know, the kind of perception there. Maybe that's why he's gotten, you know, the label that he's gotten. You know what I mean? But he's, you know, I mean, from the way that I see, the way he plays is natural, the way I see it. I don't see the brother as being soft at all.
One thing I will say is when I have watched his interviews, like sit down interviews, long format interviews,
Hmm.
each one he sounds the same to me. You know what I mean? His demeanor is the same, like. But I get what you're saying because he speaks the way he speaks. Sometimes when he says certain things,
Yeah.
it don't fit.
It
You know what I
don't
mean?
always fit, right? Don't always fit. You know, and you have some people who can like navigate in and out of, you
I
know,
was
being very articulate and then, you know, using slang and it sounds natural either way. Some people it doesn't always sound as natural.
um yeah, that's I call it putting my corporate voice on. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That work environment. You know, you had that discussion. I ain't gonna
Yeah.
deep dive in it, but there's a work etiquette that
Work ethic.
that that you have at the job. You leave that street stuff out there.
Out there.
You do
Mhm.
that outside of work, but when you
Right.
come in these doors, you gotta have a certain etiquette.
Right. And then there's some situations where you kind of all at the same time, you kind of got to mix in and out, depending on who you're talking to.
It's a
You
fact.
know, it's funny with especially with black people. Like it's like that. I mean, you might be in a work environment and then you are with someone who you relate to, and you know, you guys are going in and out. You're in a meeting and you're using your corporate voice. You're behind closed doors and boom, boom, boom. Sometimes you mix it up. But, you know, I love what Cat's doing. You know what I'm saying? And he's no lie. I mean, he's changed the trajectory of the team by being here. You know, his style, you know, being able to shoot the ball from the outside, you know, go off the dribble, pass from the elbow, basketball IQ, you know, unselfish play, but also is learning how and when to be selfish. You
hmm
know what I'm saying? So he's definitely changed the trajectory of this basketball team for the better. No doubt about it in my mind.
I definitely found it funny. From the outside looking in, how you and I both, we talked about the identity and the toughness and wondering if it was
Mhm.
gonna change or whatever the case. Obviously, we love what we see from Cat, but Anthony Edwards' comments the other night talking about the team is soft internally. You know what I mean, and how people can't talk to each other, and it's like a bunch of little kids. So I just thought it was hilarious how these guys switch teams, and here they are internally having a, a,
Internally
a
having some,
question about toughness
right,
and and we're loving what we got from Cat, and we
right,
were questioning it early. So
right. Yeah, they got some stuff going on over there in Minnesota. You know what I mean? They got some things happening. So I don't know what's Minnesota's record like right now.
um, I'm not sure, but I know they went on a like maybe a 5-game losing streak. Them and the Lakers, they both went on like
Yeah,
a
they're
bad
10 and
losing
10
streak.
right now. They've won their last 2 games, so they were 8 and 10. They're 10 and 10 right now.
Okay.
Outside of the play-in tournament, they're sitting at 11th in the West. So, let's see. I don't know.
That's the other thing too. A lot of people was on the other side of who won that trade.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people that was on the other side,
Right.
and I've seen a lot of people change their tune without mentioning how they felt in the beginning. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Dante's on the trading block. You know, I don't know what's going, how much Randall has to do with it. You know what I mean? I'll say this: what it does show, because let's say that Randall has a lot to do with what's happening over there, right? Let's assume that he does, since he's part of the team. Let's assume he does. What that means is that the infrastructure here in New York is strong. That's what that would mean, because he was here, and we know the type of issues we had with him. The Knicks had with him here with the fans. Da da da. The Knicks continuously got better. He gets traded to Minnesota, right? A team that was kind of on the same trajectory as the Knicks, and it starts to crumble there, which means your infrastructure ain't strong enough to handle that type of personality. Where in New York, the infrastructure was strong enough to handle that type of personality.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That definitely tells you a lot about what's happening in New York and the culture that's being set in New York. If that's the case, it tells you a whole lot about it. So, kudos to what the Knicks are doing. With the whole culture and infrastructure and all that kind of stuff.
The foundation is strong.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Stephen G said, New York culture brings out the dog in these players. I mean, you gotta be tough to play in New York. Not just like tough, bully tough, but you gotta be tough mentally and emotionally if you're gonna be in New York, because
And tough, thick skin.
thick
Tough
skin.
skin.
Right. You know what I'm saying? You got to be tough that way if you're gonna play in New York, any sport. East Blue Drew said Randall and Cat are two different players, though. Yeah, they are. They're two different players with two different mentalities as well. And like I always say, it only takes one player to change your entire the entire character of your team. You know what I'm saying? One player's personality can change the way everything go, in a positive way or a negative way.
That's a fact.
One player can change everything.
That's a fact.
Man, one player. You know what I mean? So, who knows if it's Randall over there or if it's something else. But he's part of it. So, he's part of it. East Blue Juice said Brunson. Yeah, Brunson is definitely a big part of the leadership that's here in New York that helps to set the culture. But the culture was kind of set before Brunson came too.
It was.
You know, I think a lot of that has to do with Tom Thibodeau, Leon Rose, and those guys. You know, a lot of that.
And knowing who they want to bring in.
Yeah, exactly. Knowing the type of guys they want to bring in, who they want to bring in, the type of personalities, the type of character. You know, when you look at the guys that they've brought in, it's been all high character guys. Always, you know.
There's been some speculation, you know.
Mhm.
You mentioned, you know, Randall and Dante being on the block with the loophole of a 3-team trade where we could get Dante back.
Is he able to come back?
From my understanding, he would have to get traded twice. But there's somebody out there that's saying a 3-team trade can make it happen. So I don't know if that's because in the 3-team trade he would be traded there and then moved again, because that's the only way. He can't go from Minnesota back to New York. He can only go from like Minnesota to another team to back to New York.
Okay.
Like even if he stayed his full year in Minnesota,
right?
I don't think he could come back to New York. Like if he was a free agent after this year, we couldn't sign him after we traded him. He would have to play on a second team or be on a second team before he came back.
Okay. Okay. Well, guess we'll see what happens. It'd be nice to have him back. I'd love to have him back off the bench, assuming that he's be coming off the bench. I would love that. I mean, that would be great, because now you basically get all of your depth back. You know what I'm saying? Because now you got Deuce, who's doing what he's doing off the bench. You have Dante, Campaign. I mean, you know, you get your depth back for the most part. That'd be great. That'd be really nice. Really nice. You know, but anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to remind you though that we got the Knicks versus Wizards game coming up January 30th. We're getting a group of people there, ladies and gentlemen. So we'd love to have you at the game on, what I say? November
30th, Monday,
December 30th.
December.
Monday, December 30th. Tickets are $130. All right, section 114. We're trying to get this done as quickly as possible, ladies and gentlemen, before these tickets are gone. All right, so if you're interested, putting a link in the chat. All right, and then I'm also going to be putting a link in the description of the video. All right, so I'm putting a link in the chat right now. Go check out those tickets. Again, section 114, we'll be doing a pregame and postgame podcast. All right, Knicks versus Wizards.
You said it's behind the Knicks bench, right?
It's to the right of the Knicks bench. In the corner, to the right of the Knicks bench. Go check that out, ladies and gentlemen. But we're going to head up out of here. We appreciate your time. And I'll see you tomorrow night. Without a doubt, ladies and gentlemen, we are up out of here. Peace.
Losing is what got us here. None of us feel good about it. This is, you know, where we are. You are what your record is. You are what has happened, you know, recently. But things can change quickly. You know, once we
losing is what